Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Can everyone hear me okay? I am just sorting out my screen to make sure that everything is working okay. Seems to be. Seems to all be working okay. So hello, welcome into the live stream. Feels very strange actually starting a live stream when there is still light sky. I think this is the first time I've ever done a live stream. I think it's the first time I've ever done one during the daytime, or when it's light, at least in my memory. I kind of have these kind of late night evening, like 7 till 9 p.m. writing sessions as kind of dark evening, the sun has set type sessions. And I think that's because I've always done the writing courses that I've ever done have always been like in the autumn. So from like September to, September to Christmas or whatever. You're late to your own live stream, of course. Oh my god, chill out. Like, it's 7:02. Like, I actually started streaming at 7 o'clock with my starting soon music. It just gives me, by putting the starting soon screen on and a little bit of music, it just gives me a chance to be able to check all of my streaming settings, make sure that I'm live, make sure the internet's working, the sound is all okay, all that kind of stuff, so that I don't end up doing it whilst I'm on stream. So that's my sister, by the way, so I can talk. I can say that to her. I can tell her to chill out. Hi, LA. Hi, everybody else that is watching. And hello to anybody who may be watching this in the future. So after tonight's live stream, it will become a video on demand on the live tab of my channel. So if you're watching this later, thank you very much for catching up. And hello to everybody who's joining. Hi, Jay. Hi, Lainey. Hello. Oh, it's so nice to see everybody. We've got a Dreamies bag in attendance this evening. Because I haven't yet been able to convince the cat to come down. Let's try shaking the Dreamy bag. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. I'll shake it away from the camera. I can't hear him. I can't hear him coming down. He'll probably come down at some point, but in the meantime we can stare at a Dreamies bag. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that, should I? It's product placement. Should wait until Dreamies sponsor me to put the Dreamies bag on stream. But yeah, basically that's what we have. This is our cat cam. Stanley is my cat, if anybody doesn't know, who's joining for the first time, and we usually hope that he will come and be on stream. He has been known not to be on stream in the past, but hopefully we can turn it around. Dreamies need to earn their advertising. Yeah, well, there we go. Dreamies, if you want to sponsor us, then feel free to, but for now we're going to remove it until you pay us. Who enjoyed last week's dog cameo with Ezra, little Ezzy Bean, on camera? I think everybody enjoyed the chaos of him with his banana, his squeaky banana, which he absolutely ruined at the end of that stream. Sorry, Melissa, that banana was not in any fit state to come back, to go back to your home. But yeah, no animal yet tonight. I am still trying to convince Tom to let me buy a desk hamster. I just really love the idea of having a little hamster on my desk. But anyway, I digress. How's everybody's weeks been? What have you all been up to? Anything interesting? I have... Crikey, what's happened between last week and this week? Feels like it's gone in a blur, to be honest. I don't know. When it starts getting to this time of year, kind of the spring and into the summer, it just feels like the weekends go by so fast. I tell you what I have spent a lot of time doing over the last few days is both watching The Other Bennett Sister and reading The Other Bennett Sister book. So I'm seeing an awful lot of discourse about it on both TikTok and YouTube. So I am looking forward to... I think I'm going to film the video tomorrow and then it'll be out on Thursday evening, which is my... It's a review of the show, but it's also mainly a discussion of whether you should read a book before you watch the adaptation or whether it is worth just watching the adaptation and reading the book afterwards. Very, very interesting. My expectations versus how I actually feel in reality. Oh, just hit my camera. Sorry. Get a little bit of shake on there. My expectation versus the reality of actually watching the show and reading the book. Very different. I had very different experiences of the first half and the second half. Bank holiday plans, spring clean, IKEA. Oh, you're going to IKEA again, Melissa. Sorry, everybody, just while I ask my sister to get me some stuff. Will you please get me some things from IKEA? I need some candles. And what else did I need? I wanted some candles and I wanted something else. IKEA have the best taper candles, just plain white taper candles. They are amazing. Send the list. So please excuse everybody while I just send Melissa a shopping list for IKEA. Finishing the other Bennett sister and Easter lunch. Lovely. That sounds like a really nice bank holiday. Other than the spring cleaning, I've got to do some cleaning as well this weekend. And not down for it. I've seen so much about the other Bennett sister, undecided on whether to watch it, maybe worried it will ruin Pride and Prejudice for me. But I did like the Miss Austen TV show. Right. LA, I think you'll like it. Based on what you've just said there, I won't tell you any more, but I think you will like it. It is so cosy and it is so it's so nostalgic for some of the kind of older BBC period drama styles. So if you liked like the BBC old school 90s period dramas, then I think you would really like it. Have you read the book? Because that will definitely influence whether you like it or not. Having said that, I know that other people have read the book and watched the TV show and have liked them both. I have not read the book. Okay, interesting. I'm not going to say any more because all of this is going to be discussed in my video on Thursday, and I would like you to watch that video if that's okay. So, but yes, very interesting. What else? So I read The Other Bennett Sister. I'm also reading The Magician at the moment by Raymond E. Feist, which is a pure fantasy. I don't know if you even call it a high fantasy. I don't really know the difference between like a normal fantasy book and a high fantasy book. If anybody does know the difference, tell us in the comments because I'd really like to know. I have been getting back into fantasy after reading things like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings as a kid and a teenager, and then I started reading a bit of romantasy, and then I got back into fantasy with the Will of the Many / The Strength of the Few series, and then Tom bought me The Magician for my birthday, and I've been reading that, and I've been really, really enjoying it. It's really good, so I've been enjoying that as well. I'm trying to read as much as I can this year, just because I go through these periods sometimes, don't know if other people do as well, where I can absolutely devour book after book after book, and then I'll have a couple of months where I don't read anything. And I know that probably is going to come as a massive shock because somebody who has a YouTube channel and does a load of content on reading, and like all my family will be like, what do you mean you don't read for like 2 months? But every now and again I just need a bit of a break. It's usually after quite not a difficult book, but a book that's left like a really deep impression on me. I can't then just instantly go into another book. I'm like, I need to have some time to kind of like get over that book before I can go into something else. I'm not a purist on adaptations though. To be honest, I think with this one, I think it will please the purists, and I think it will please people who just enjoy period drama, in my opinion. And the timing of it, coming off the back of things like Wuthering Heights coming out, I think they're going to see a lot of success with it. From what I understand, it's not out in America yet either, so it's only the UK audiences and maybe Europe as well that have had access to be able to watch it. I don't believe America has yet, so it'd be really interesting once Americans watch it as well and see it. So we'll give it a few more minutes, and then at 1:15 we'll go into our first writing session. What is everybody going to be doing in our 20-minute sessions today? Are you going to be reading? Are you going to be writing? Are you going to be doing some crafting? What's everybody going to be up to? Let me know. Let me know. I just need some squash. I always find myself getting so thirsty during these live streams. So I need to remember to drink. Hydrate, everybody. Oh. Also, I will just mention as well that I have started my YouTube members on my channel. I did used to have my Patreon account. I've closed that down, and everything is on YouTube. So the very first video went on to my YouTube members over the weekend. It was an office redecoration plan, so kind of a little tour of the office and what I'm planning to do in terms of redecorating in here. So if you're interested in that, if you're wanting to support the channel, if you want to become a member, you can go on to my YouTube channel and then click on the membership tab, and it'll show you everything on there. But don't worry, no pressure, absolutely no pressure to join that. There's still obviously going to be all of my content on my normal channel, and you can do something called super thanks. I don't really know what it is at the moment. I'll have a look into it for next stream, but I've only literally just got monetized for it, so I need to properly look into it. I think it's like a one-off payment if you want to do like a one-off donation to the channel in support. But to be honest, I think I'll find out more about that. But just liking the stream, I can see that somebody's already done that. Have we got just one, or what have we got? Yeah, one. Somebody's liked it already. Thank you to whoever that was who liked the live stream. Liking it really helps, because YouTube will push it out a little bit more, especially after the live stream has finished. So yeah. So ladies, I've got an essay planned to write, essay due on the 16th. Do you know what? I never enjoyed writing essays. I know that's probably going to come as a surprise as well, because I really liked university, but I always used to be like, it's that moment before you start like planning it. Once you get started on it, I felt it was all right, but it's that anticipation of having to write an essay that's the worst, isn't it? The question is, to what extent was London a transformed city in the early part of the 20th century? Outline at least one way this transformation had come about. Ooh, that does sound interesting. So early part of the 20th century, so that's very late Industrial Revolution. I suppose it's kind of... the Industrial Revolution isn't over, is it, by the early 20th century? But it's the very end of it. It's the end of the Victorian period, isn't it? Because she died in 1901, Queen Victoria, or 1902. So, London, a transformed city. Very interesting. I was actually watching a video on YouTube today about rationing in World War II, which was very interesting as well. I didn't realise that the country actually became significantly healthier as a result of rationing, because vegetables were not rationed, and so a lot more people were eating vegetables. It also, because every single class system and anybody, regardless of their economic status, was given the same in terms of rationing, it meant that people who lived well below the poverty line actually ate better during the war, because they got rations, and so they got food, like access to certain things that they hadn't had access to previously. I didn't realise rationing in the UK continued. No, I didn't either. Was it 1958, I think, when it finished? It's crazy. You assume that it kind of stopped quite quickly after the war, but no, all the knock-on effects of war led to it as well. It was actually a really interesting little YouTube video. I think it was only like 15 minutes long, but it was one of those that actually had a presenter as well. There are so many history videos coming out on YouTube at the moment that have got AI and AI presenters over the top, but this was an actual physical person who was doing the presenting on it, which was lovely as well. Right, it's 1:15. Shall we go into our first 20-minute session? And if anybody else joins in the meantime, let us know what you're going to be doing, whether you're going to be reading, writing, what project you're going to be working on. I am going to be working on my novel. I have got a couple of prompts. Last week I was editing where I'd got up to, but I'm actually doing proper writing today, so I'm excited for that. Really going to be getting creative. And we've got a new playlist as well. It's piano playlist, which is what the poll said last week. And so there's one song in there which I really, really liked on the old playlist, but all the other piano pieces are all brand new for this playlist. So let's get into it. Hope you enjoy the piano playlist, and we'll chat again in 20 minutes. So let's get into it. Right, how did that session go? I found it a bit tricky actually, just getting back into the writing, I think. I probably need to start plotting some of my chapters and what needs to happen, because I'm a little bit coming into it and I'm like, I don't really know what's happening. And so I think I'm filling the kind of, I'm filling this chapter in a way with stuff that I'm not sure really needs to be there. So I don't know. It feels okay at the moment. I'm not going to cut what I've written, but I'm just a bit like, is it exactly what I want? I think so. My character has come back to the inn and she is talking with another character about the new ostler and somebody else that's come in. And so I guess it's good because it's like it's creating, it's introducing all these characters to each other, so it creates like the family, the village that is around the main character, but it doesn't want to be too long, so I just need to be quite aware of making sure that I don't linger over what the events of the chapter too long, just to get words down. It's more about getting the right words and keeping it moving forward. So I need to think about what happens next. Yeah, I'm not too sure. So in the next 20-minute session, you might see me just sitting and not really writing too much, because I think I might just think about what I want to happen and do some like plot points. How did everybody else's session get on? What did you get up to? Lainey, how did your essay planning go? Did you manage to get some done? Melissa's probably eating dinner now. If she was cooking dinner throughout our earlier chat. Yeah, how's everybody doing? Stanley still has not come and joined us. It's really difficult with a cat, because with a dog you can just tell them, I mean, they follow you around anyway, but you can tell them to go and get in the bed and they will go and get in the bed. Even if I went and picked up Stanley and popped him in the cat bed, he would then just get up and walk away. He would, 100%, because I know what people say, like, why don't you just go and pick him up and pop him there? He won't stay. So, yeah. I don't know. He might come. He might come at some point. Hopefully he will. Yeah. I need to do a little bit of research as well, historical research into a few different bits. So, for example, I want my male love interest in this book. I want him, well, he is supposed to be both an ostler and a farrier. So an ostler is someone who's basically like a stable master, stable hand, somebody who ran a stables and looked after horses at an inn and kind of made sure that everything was kind of well cared for. And so when coaches came into the inn, fresh horses would be provided. Other horses would be stabled until their kind of owners came to pick them up again on like maybe a return journey or something like that. But I also want him to be a farrier, and I need to work out how realistic it would be that someone could be both an ostler and a farrier at a fairly sizable countryside inn. It's not like a massive highway inn on the Great North Road, but it's not a tiny one either. It's somewhere in between. But I kind of want... I know this is a bit trashy, but I kind of really want a really sexy blacksmith scene where he's like stripped down and he's like smacking metal. You know the scenes that I'm talking about. That's kind of what I want. I want like a thirst trap scene in the book, and so I want to make him both an ostler and a farrier. But I need to find out if that's a bit unrealistic. And do we mind? Do we mind if it's a bit unrealistic if we get some good old-fashioned male yearning in it? I don't know. It was going okay, but then my little lad ran in and wanted to tell me what was happening on SpongeBob. Oh, bless him. Oh, I love a bit of SpongeBob. I'm imagining that now, exactly. You know you want it. You want that scene. You want that scene in the book. And I finally worked out in my mind, so the book has a title, and I finally worked out the scene where the title is part of the book, if you know what I mean. It's a slightly romantic scene between the female main character and the ostler farrier person, and yeah, I kind of had that in my mind the other day, and I was like, that would make a really cool scene. So I just need to write a few notes down about that. It doesn't need to be completely realistic, but if it helps you with writing, I hope you find the answer. Thank you. Yeah, I think, to be honest, at the moment, I think getting the story down is the most important thing, and then I can have a look for the history properly later. Emma Darwin on Substack often talks about these conundrums with historical fiction. Ooh, Emma Darwin. I don't think I've come across her before. Do you know what? I really need to get into Substack, as in reading people's Substacks. I'm not sure it's an avenue that I want to go into just at the moment. I don't really have the time to be producing content on Substack, but I do want to look at other people's. I think I did mention it recently in. So I did my 100 Books Over 100 Years series that I'm doing. The second book in the series, These Old Shades by Georgette Heyer. I was talking about when is too much historical accuracy actually detracting from a book, because I found that that book was almost too historically accurate. It had, like, one character had 3 different names in the book, and historically, yes, they would have been referred to by different names depending on what person they were dealing with. So whether it was a member of the family, they would have a very informal name, but to, like, Joe Blogs on the street, they would be Lord so and so and so and so. And I get it, but it was so it was quite, it kept bringing me out of the story all the time when I was like, who are they talking about now? And I was like, that's too much historical accuracy. So you do need a little bit of a little bit of, yeah, leeway, I think, in the historical accuracy. I'm always looking for more writing newsletters. I do spend more time reading them than writing them. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that as well. I would definitely do that. Get all the advice and then struggle to pop it into action. Right, we'll give it another minute, and then at 1:45 we'll go into our next session. But yes. So Lainey's doing an essay. What are you doing in your 20-minute session, Ellie? What are you working on? And anybody else who's watching, what are you up to? Letting me know. Yeah, I'm going to do this bit of work on the plot and just work on some plotty plot. Oh, I'm reading. What are you reading? What are you reading? Like I say, I'm going to go and read some of The Magician in Bed. And I really want to start Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I think that's the next book that I'm going to read. I am also reading the next 100 Books Over 100 Years thing, which I might talk about in the next break, actually, because I would like some advice, if you would give me some. So yeah, let's go into the next 20-minute session, and then we'll talk about that and talk about your book, Ellie, what you're reading in the next session as well. Hello everyone, we're back. We've got a Stanley. I don't know how long he's going to stay for. He's looking very much like now he's had his treats, he's going to run away. But he's here, currently taking up most of the camera. You can just see his little ear. Look, you see his head. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's look very sleepy. He's sleepy. Why don't you get in your bed? It's like, why would I do what you tell me to do, peasant? Oh, little cat in a box. No, you're not going in a box, don't worry. How did everybody's session get on? Mine was I actually ended up writing for the whole 20-minute session, which I hadn't, well, not the whole one. There you go, see, he's gone. He's gone. He may be back. At least now you've seen him. You know that he exists. The cat exists. I'll pop his camera back and then just in case he comes back up. But you've seen him. We've had a little cat cameo. Yeah, I actually ended up writing for the whole 20-minute session then, which I hadn't intended to. I had intended to do some plotting, but I just wanted to finish off the little bit that I was doing, which was sort of finishing off that scene where all the characters are kind of getting to know each other a little bit. So that went quite well. I I'm trying to do. I've never written a romance scene before, or certainly haven't written a romance scene recently, and I'm trying to like write the build up, like write the when somebody is first coming into your sphere, when you're first getting to know somebody and you're intrigued by them. You maybe don't quite fancy them yet, or you don't kind of obviously don't know they're going to get together yet, but there's that sense of, there's something about you that I kind of like, and that bit, that's what I'm trying to write into this scene. It's quite interesting. I think I'm going to have to read some romance novels. How awful. I'm going to have to read some novels and see how other people write it, and just try and pick up a few kind of ideas of how I don't want it to be, too much too similar to the way everybody writes it, but at the same time I don't want it to be, like, I don't know, awkwardly weird, because I don't know how to write it properly. So yeah, and I'm glad you liked the music, Emma. Yeah, this was the poll that we did last week, was the poll for the piano music. If anybody is watching later or is watching now and hasn't been to a live stream previously, we have had a fantasy playlist previously. I really like the fantasy playlist because I like the pace of it. I tend to like, when I'm writing, I quite like to listen to things that have a little bit of tempo to them, because I feel like I write a bit faster if the tempo is up a little bit. Piano music does sometimes have a little bit of a tendency to like kind of lull me off into like a sleepy place. I'm thinking of doing like a cinematic type playlist, maybe for next week, maybe for the week after. Actually, I'm not sure I'm streaming the week after. I can't remember. But like something where it almost feels like it could be part of like a movie soundtrack or something like that. Came across a couple of songs on Epidemic Sound when I was putting together today's piano playlist, and so I've popped them in a cinematic playlist. And I'll see if I can find any others to put in as well. But I just kind of want to keep changing up the music so that we're getting like different inspirations every time that we do one of them. Not every single time we do one of these streams, we will have to repeat playlists, but like just giving a variety so that we're being inspired. So if you have any ideas of types of music, styles of music that you would really like to hear, I won't do a poll tonight, but we'll do polls regularly so that you can vote on what you'd like to hear. So how did everything go? Did we have any more SpongeBob interruptions? Or did you get on okay with the essay in that second section, Lainey? And yeah, what did I say? I said I was going to talk about something in this break, didn't I? What did I say I was going to talk about? I've forgotten already. Can anybody remember? Just let me have a second of braining. No, it's completely gone. I have absolutely no idea what it was that I was going to talk about. Do you know, doing things like live stream is actually quite difficult, because I've got to like keep an eye on the live stream, make sure everything that is running, make sure that all of the kind of settings and everything are continuing to go. I'm writing, so I'm kind of getting my head in a writing place whilst I'm doing my writing sessions. I'm trying to reply to comments, keep on top of the chat as well, and it's a lot to do concurrently. And yeah, my brain can't remember what it was that I was going to chat about when I said it in the last break. I feel like it was quite good as well. Do you ever do that when you have a point to make, or you have something you're like, that was a really good point that I was going to make, and now I've forgotten what that point was. I'm sure it was something to do with books or reading. No, not this time, but I did have a nosy at my family tree. I was sure my third grandfather was an anchor smith, and he was thinking about your blacksmith. Is an anchor smith literally somebody who makes anchors, or have I got that wrong? And what's the difference? I just thought they were all called blacksmiths if they worked with like iron or metal, but an anchor smith, that's a really cool job. I think people, yeah, so an anchor maker. Anchor maker. Um, isn't it cool, those jobs that people have? I don't know if anybody follows Tom Scott on YouTube, but he had a bit of a break from doing his videos, and he's come back this week, and he went to a bell right, is that what they call it, like a bell maker, you know, like the big church, massive church bells, and he went to somewhere in, I think it was in the Midlands. I'm not entirely sure, but there was this video that I watched. Tom and I watched it last night, and it was how bells are cast and like casting bells, and I was like, that's such a cool job to like. I mean, it's done exactly the same way now as it had been done for hundreds of years. They're just fascinating people who have these really cool and unusual crafting jobs, like masons. The fact that there are still stonemasons out there, I think is just fascinating. It would be so cool to do a job like that. I don't need another hobby, so I'm not going to take up masonry, don't worry. He's on the census as an anchor smith. Interesting. So he obviously did have distinctions then between anchor making. Well, I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? You wouldn't, because a blacksmith ain't going to make an anchor, is he? He's going to make things like horseshoes and metal implements and tools and that kind of thing, kind of smaller items. But an anchor, I mean, presumably that had to be cast in the same way that a bell would be. So it'd be a massive setup to be able to cast something that big. I went to a stonemasonry talk last year about churches. It was very interesting. I love that kind of thing. Yeah, I really love to learn about historic trades as well. Yeah. Do you want to hear something really nerdy? It's a little bit embarrassing and really nerdy. But when I was about 21, kind of 2021. No, it would have been 21 because I finished my degree. I was doing my master's. I was living at Lamport Hall in Northamptonshire, which is a smaller country house in Northamptonshire. And I was working for English Heritage. And I used to work at Kirby Hall, which was like the main property, but then they also had Apethorpe Palace, which is another property near Kirby Hall in Northamptonshire. And at the time it was owned by English Heritage, but they didn't open it to the public really. They did like arranged guided tours on like, you know, the third Saturday of every month or something like that. So the staff that worked at Kirby, every third Saturday of the month or whatever, one of us would go over there and do the guided tours, and I loved it. Apethorpe is such a beautiful building. It's now in private hands. It's been sold to somebody, a private French person, and it was a really good sale. The person who has bought it, from what I understand, is working very closely with like heritage organisations, and they're restoring it, and it's been done very sympathetically. So I feel really privileged to have actually been able to look around Apethorpe before it went into private hands. But at the time I was like, why don't they make it into like a college for protected art like protected trades and things like stonemasonry, woodworking, plaster casting, all of the kind of historic trades and historic artisans that we had that are dying out. They are dying trades, you know, printmaking, threshing, and doing what they call it, roofs. Doing roofs. Do you know what I mean? The thatched roofing, thatching, and that kind of thing. I was like, why don't they create use this palace? Because the thing is, it was in quite a not ruinous state, but it was run down. It needed a lot of restoration. I was like, why don't they make it into a restoration college, and students can go there, they can learn these different crafts and these different historic trades, but actually restore the house whilst they are learning the trades. So every time they learn a craft, they actually get to restore a part of the house as part of that education, as part of that kind of traineeship. And I didn't only think about it. I wrote to the head of English Heritage. How nerdy is that? How nerdy. I wrote to the head of English Heritage. Oh God, I can't remember his name now. And I suggested it. I'm actually quite embarrassed now telling you all about it, but I suggested that he do that. I was like, I think this would be a really good idea. I think you should turn it into a college, and the students could live in like a stable block, and that could be turned into student accommodation. But then you could like have the house, and did it. I sent him this letter about how I would do it if I was him, and he was lovely, and he sent back a really really nice letter saying, "This is a really lovely idea. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could do that kind of thing?" And then I heard that they'd sold it, and I was like, oh well, they're just going to go for the money. But yeah, bit embarrassing that I nerdily was like, why don't you open a college? But I still think it's a good idea. I still think having a house and learning trades whilst restoring the house as part of that training is a really good idea. Not sure about writing to the head of English Heritage to tell them to do that though. There was a bunch of them who lived on the same row in Durham, Cottage Row. The blacksmiths live next door. Ah, it's from the British Association of Local History, in case they run them again. Oh, that's the stonemasonry talk. The British Association of Local History. I wonder if the anchor smiths thought that they were cooler than blacksmith neighbours. Yeah, probably. They're like, we make anchors. They're like really big. And what do? You do horseshoes. They probably was there any relation between them? Because then obviously families lived very close to each other, and I would have thought that kind of skill would have been kind of kept in the family almost, be handed down from family to family member. The King's Foundation runs those kind of courses, I think, to try and preserve historic skills. Yeah, like basically trying to preserve historic skills. But I love the idea of like, if you have learned a historic skill, to then be able to actually put it into practical use in preserving an actual historic building. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you got an English heritage property that was like, a heritage on the Heritage at Risk register, but then through the work of this college, not only are you educating people and giving them a skill and a trade, but also being able to renovate that home as well. We now need a Peaky Blinders style show about the blacksmiths in Durham. Oh my god, yes. Yes, write it. Write the screenplay, or the script. That'd be so cool, wouldn't it? I have an idea for a TV show. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's yeah. I don't know how. I've never done scripting. I've never written a script. I've never even looked into what it would be. But I just have this idea, and I think it's quite a good one. It's kind of a wartime show, but with many like a multicast show, a bit like not anything along the lines of Downton Abbey, but you know how Downton Abbey had like multiple characters? This would have like multiple characters, but they'd all be in one location, and it'd be around the wartime. So yeah, I really want to do it, but I need to do quite a lot of historical research, because obviously that would have to be hugely historically accurate. But you should start it. Start which one? This one that I'm thinking of doing, or I should start the blacksmiths in Durham one. I think actually Lainey should write that. Write the script. World War II shows always have an audience. Yeah. And I think this one, like, from the very little bit of research that I've done on it, like, there was a lot that happened at this place. So, like, each episode could be massive. Like, you could have, like, really big things happening in almost every single episode, and it wouldn't be over dramatised because it's actual history, because they were living in wartime. Yeah, I always think to myself sometimes when I'm struggling with like writing my book or something like that, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just have a little dabble and I'll just play around with that. And then I'm like, Charlotte, just get on and write the book, and then you can do screenplays later. And I know that my family would say that as well. So, shall we go into another 20-minute session? We're on 20 past now. And then, actually, let's give it a few more minutes. At 25 past, we'll do it, because then we can go 25 past to 8:45. We'll do our kind of final session. And then I think that means, have we done 4? Have we done 4 sessions, or will we have only done 3? I don't know. But let's have a few more minutes of talking, and I'm going to have some more squash, because I'm still really thirsty. And then, yeah, we'll go into our last session. It's got really dark now. It's mad to think that as we go through these live streams over the summer, it's going to get to the point where it's going to be 20 past 8 and it's going to be bright. Like, I'm going to be finishing the live streams and it's still going to be light. Oh, I love this time of year when it starts getting warm again. Sorry, I hope you can't hear me drinking. I don't think you can because the mic's like down here that I'm using for the audio. But I love watching, doing any kind of family research and family history. I really love watching Who Do You Think You Are? Like, I'll have little moments where I'll watch like a whole string of episodes and then forget about it for like 3 years. And then I'll be like, oh God, yeah, who do you think you are? And then I'll put it back on again. I know it's all very kind of rose-tinted historical research in that because I used to believe it. I used to believe that it was that easy to research your family tree when it first came out. And then I started doing historical research for my books and realised it was actually incredibly difficult. It takes a lot longer than it makes it look like in the show. But yeah, it's still good. Still good to watch. I'm still trying to think of that thing that what it was going to be that I was going to discuss. Was it the next 100 Years, 100 Books book? Was that it? Was that what I was going to talk about? I'm in the middle. So basically, oh yes, because I wanted your opinion. Right. So for the 100 Years, 100 Books series, with the very first one I did The Painted Veil. And that one seemed to get a really good amount of interest. And I think it's because that book was very popular. People know it very well. And then I did These Old Shades by Georgette Heyer as my 1926 book. And it didn't get as much engagement. And I'm wondering whether it's because I didn't go for a super popular book from the year. So when I was looking at 1927, which is the next one in the series that my next year that I'm going to do, I had initially picked... oh gosh, what is it called? It's a J.B. Priestley book. Is that right? Oh gosh, do you know what? In the next session, I'll have a look and see what the name is of it. But it's like it's a cool story. It's like they're caught in a storm. The main characters end up at this house, this country house in the middle of nowhere, and it's a bit spooky, it's a bit weird, and they don't know what's going on. And I started reading that, and I was like, this is really, really cool. Then I was having a chat with somebody about it, and I said, oh, do you think I really need to go for like the most popular book in that year? And they were like, maybe, because if you go for the most popular book, then obviously more people will have heard of it, therefore more people will be interested in your views and your kind of your dissection of the writing style in the book. So I had a look. The most popular book of 1927 was To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, which I have read before. I have to say, don't shoot me, I'm not a massive Virginia Woolf fan. I think maybe I will be now if I read her now. I think when I was reading her at like 1918, 1920, I was just too young, I think, to appreciate her skill. So the question that I would like you to mull on, and we'll go into the next writing session, so maybe let me know either throughout the next session or when we come into the final chatty bit, but I would like to know whether you think I should do a book that I think will be interesting, and just something that's a little bit different, maybe not the biggest selling book of that year, or whether you actually do want to see the biggest selling book of the year, because obviously it's something that people have been particularly interested in within that year, and so we can have a look not only at the writing style, but we can have a look at kind of reading trends. I think I've answered my own question there. I think I need to go for the most popular one, but what do you think? Let me know. Let's go into the next writing session and we can finish that conversation afterwards. Okay. Oh, how was that? Let me take my headphones out for a little minute. I did a little bit of writing. I finished off the scene that I was writing, which felt nice. And then I was just writing a little list of scenes that I want to include in the book at some point. I have all these different like little ideas popping through in my mind, and so I just wanted to get a few of them down on paper. I don't really know what's next. I know that I know a few things that need to come up soon, but I don't know what's coming next. So I might need to have at some point. I might get some time over the weekend, but just some time to really mull over the story, what's happening next, because I've realised that just bashing out a storyline and it doesn't really matter how good or bad it is, I'm not sure that's going to work for me and just for me personally and my imposter syndrome. I think that what works for me is to feel like I'm working through a chapter at a time and I'm getting that to a stage where I'm quite happy with it. I'm happy with the language, the tone, how the chapter progresses, and then moving on to the next one. I think I found with the Lighthouse novel that I was just putting anything down on paper and I was like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll change it at a later date, I'll change it. And it just felt that because I'd written something in a certain way, that ended up being set in stone, and then I went back and read it and I was like, this is really bad and I really don't like it and it just didn't feel right. So I'd rather take the process a little bit slower and really work through each chapter in more depth and feel more comfortable about it and feel more confident about each chapter before I move on to the next one. Just need to do a bit of mulling, a little bit of percolating. We have a Stanley now, but we have the back end of a Stanley. The annoying thing is that he'll look really cute from the other side because he's got his little chin resting on his bed like that. But if I move the camera, then he'll stop looking that way. I just know he will. So I hope you don't mind his back end. Bless him. He loves that bed. He loves being in that bed. He will be there all day. Most days. He just loves being close but not like on me. So yeah, how has everybody got on with their sessions? How's the essay planning gone, Lainey, and the reading? Ellie, I don't think you told us what you were reading. You don't have to, but if you want to share what book you were reading. And yeah, what's everybody else been doing? I think there's been a few lurkers, people just quietly observing and not commenting, which is absolutely fine. You don't have to. I just like to have some conversations because otherwise I feel like I'm just talking and I know I talk too much anyway. So I'm always just a little bit conscious of not wanting to talk too much. I'm reading Cover Story, a rom-com. Oh, okay, who's that by? I don't think I've heard of Cover Story before. But I like a good rom-com. Mary McFarlane, I have heard of her. I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've heard of her. I'm trying to think. It's really ringing a bell. And I can't think. What other stuff has she done? Do you know, I'm going to have to Google it. Do you ever do that when you hear of someone and then you're like, why do I know that name? McFarlane. What else have I read? Images. Let's have a look. Oh, I don't know. None of those instantly ring a bell. Maybe it's someone else that I'm thinking of. Look cool though. I like those kind of books. Book covers. I like the fact that rom-com book covers, I feel like we're in a really good place with rom-com book covers at the moment. They're all like bright coloured, they've got cute fonts. I like the illustrative style of kind of modern rom-com novels at the moment. I have to say, I think fantasy's kind of slightly lost its way with book covers at the moment. They've gone a little bit over detailed. I'm not a massive fan of a sprayed edge. I think I've said this before. I don't mind them, but I don't think we need to be putting sprayed edges on everything at the moment. And but yeah, I like the kind of fun, bright colours of kind of not like modern. What do we call them? Just like modern novels. Contemporary novels. That's what I'm thinking of. Cheese. You can tell it's nearly 9 o'clock. It's time for me to go to bed. Contemporary novels. Very easy to read so far. Do you know what? I love an easy reading book. Honestly, like I definitely think that it is good for us to all like kind of broaden our horizons and broaden our kind of reading and get, read difficult books and all that kind of stuff and diversify your bookshelves and all that. I believe in that 100%. And at the same time, I do believe in just being able to read an easy read book every now and again. So who has been my easy read? I'm just having a look at my bookshelf to see who an easy read author would be. Maybe something like, I really love the Seven Sisters series by Lucinda Riley. And actually, oh gosh, what's her name? Kate. She does a load of country house books. They're like historical country house books. Kate... author. That's not going to come up with anything, is it? If I Google Kate author. Kate Atkinson? Kate Morton. Kate Morton, that's who I'm thinking of, isn't it? Yes, Kate Morton. Yeah, Ellie, you got it as well, yeah. I like Kate Morton books. Yeah, The House at Riverton, The Secret Keeper, The Lake House. They're all just like, they're easy reading, they're historical fiction. They've usually got a female character. They've got a little bit of like a mystery or something a little bit spooky. they're just great. They're just really easy reading kind of historical fiction novels like that. Beth O'Leary and Emily Henry. I don't think I've ever read an Emily Henry book. I've definitely read some Beth O'Leary. I need some easy reading books. I've committed myself to reading the Outlander books. They are some serious chonkers. Are they? Do you know I've not read them either? Are they good? Like, have you read them and do you think they're worth it? Because I have to say, I've not read Bridgerton. I'm not particularly interested in reading the Bridgerton books. But I would read the Outlander books. If you think that they are just just as good as the TV show, I have to admit I absolutely love the Outlander TV show, and so I would want the books to be just as good, if not better. And then I might read them. You've only read The House at Riverton, yeah. A lot of her stuff's really good. What's my favourite of hers? The Clockmaker's Daughter. Clockmaker's Daughter was a really, really good one that I read recently. I think that's one of her most recent ones. I don't know what she's done. What her most recent book is. I don't think it'll be The Clockmaker's Daughter. Oh, she's Australian. I did not know she was Australian. Let's have a look on her Wikipedia page. They are good, but wow, are they massively detailed. Right. I mean, in a good way. In a really good way, are they, like, massively detailed? I don't mind a massively detailed book. So The Clockmaker's Daughter was 2018. Homecoming is the new one, April 2023. I need to read that. So she's not actually had as many books out as I thought she had. So The House at Riverton was her debut, I think, novel. And then The Forgotten Garden, I've definitely read that one. The Distant Hours, I think I've read that. The Secret Keeper, I've definitely read. The Lake House, and then The Clockmaker's Daughter. And then Homecoming. Yeah, she's one of I like her. She's one of, I wouldn't say favourite novelists, just because I haven't actually read one of her books in quite a while now. I would say it's probably 2018, 2019 since I read The Homecoming. But definitely a favoured writer. I do really like her books. Oh, hello, baby. Should we move the camera so everybody can see your little face? Oh, sleepy boy. Yeah. I don't know if I can move this a bit further around. There we go. Oh, it's pulling to the right a little bit, unfortunately. There we go. Yeah, what other things? So you want some book recommendations, Lainey? What kind of thing do you want to read? What kind of thing I can make some recommendations? I love recommending books to people. It's something that I really, really like. I'd love to do it, like, for my subscribers, maybe for the live stream, or I'd love to be able to offer like a book recommending service. But then I'm like, who do I think I am? I haven't read every book in the world. But it'd be so cool, wouldn't it, to be able to be like, right, I need a book, Charlotte, and this is what I want to read. And then I would go out and find you some recommendations based on that. The author's note in The House at Riverton was so good as a writing resource. She recommends a lot of sources. I finally feel able to do some research for a 20s project I want to start. Oh, cool. Do you know what? I'll have a look. I've definitely got The House at Riverton up on my bookshelf. I'll have a look at that. He looks cosy. He's so cosy, bless him. So this bed, you probably, you can't see it on the live stream, but it was one of those like cocoon beds where it had like a little lid and then you go into it, and I was convinced he would love it in there because he loves going underneath the duvet. Upstairs he sleeps underneath the bed quite a lot of the time, and he would not go in it, so they ended up hacking it off, I think with a bread knife at one point, just to make like a round bed. And since then he's been obsessed with that bed, but it has to be up high. Won't sleep in it if it's on the floor. I thought of you today as I saw a copy of Lamentation by C.J. Sansom in the second-hand bookshop at Brodsworth Hall. Oh, I love C.J. Sansom. It's funny because I was watching a TikTok and I can't think who it was off the top of my head, but it was a guy who was going around a number of charity shops in his local area and seeing what he could get from the charity shop, and he picked up Lamentation, and he was like, I've not heard of this before, it sounds really, really good, but it's the first in the series and I don't know, should I even start it, should I gift it back? And I was like writing on the TikTok, like replying like, please don't put that book back, please read it, you're going to really enjoy it. And I was like, this is like the most amazing book series you're ever going to read. I got like really nerdy in the comments. So I hope he enjoyed it. I hope he read it. I don't know. I like Kate Moss. I love Kate Moss, Jill. Absolutely love her. I'm actually trying to get my Kate Moss collection built up again because I did have everything. Labyrinth is probably, I would say, one of the books that inspired me to want to be a writer, inspired me to want to write historical fiction. Is one of those books I think of as my like late teens, early 20s, formative reading creative years. Labyrinth by Kate Moss is definitely one of those books which is up there. Which Kate Moss is the best to try first? I would go for Labyrinth. I mean, Jill, what do you think? What would you recommend as the first? Do a video answering book recommendation requests. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Where should I do it? Maybe I could do a post on YouTube and a post on Instagram stories asking people for like book requests, and then I could do a video answering those book requests. I'll see if people are interested in it and see if anybody wants to do it. If anybody's watching this later and you want to ask for a book request, then either send me a DM or put it in the comment section of the video. And yeah, that'd be really cool to do. I'd like to do that. I think because a lot of Kate Moss books, they're all interconnected, aren't they? I think a lot of the storylines tend to overlap a little bit. And I think Labyrinth was the first one that she wrote. Let's have a look. Kate Moss. Oh, I don't know how to stop that. There's my alarm going off on my phone. There we go. Hopefully that's, yeah, it's still going. Kate Moss. So the bibliography. So the Labyrinth is the first in the Languedoc trilogy, but then there is the Burning Chambers series as well. And The Taxidermist's Daughter, I read that as well. That was really good. I think, personally, I would start with Labyrinth, but yeah, Jill agrees as well. And Sepulchre. And I've got Sepulchre. I've definitely got Sepulchre. I can see it up on my bookcase. But I want a copy of Labyrinth and Citadel as well. And then I think I've got the Ghost Ship. I think I've actually got a signed copy of the Ghost Ship. I didn't get it signed by her personally at an event, but I think I bought it from a bookshop that had signed copies. But I haven't read it because I think I've only read The Burning Chambers. I haven't read City of Tears. So I need to kind of catch up on all of her books. I need to buy a lot of them and then I can catch up. But yeah. Again, another writer that actually hasn't written that many fiction books. When you think about, it's been like 20 years and she's done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She's done 7, 8, 9, 10, actually. I'm like, she hasn't done that many, and in 10 years she's written 10 books. That's literally a book a year. What am I talking about? I think it's because, like, some of the books, like The Winter Ghosts, is quite a small book. It's a novella, and I'm kind of thinking, like, I don't know. I think when there's an author and you think of them as being so influential to yourself, to either your reading, your personality, or like your writing inspiration, you kind of feel like that writer must have written like millions and millions of books because they're so valuable and so like important to you individually. And then you look at their bibliography and like, oh, they've done 10 books. Not as many as I thought, but it's still obviously an awful lot. And 10 books in 10 years is a book a year, because she literally did 2005, 2007, she released 2 in 2009, 12, 13, 14, 18, 20, 23, 24, and then in that time was writing 1, 2, 3, 4 non-fiction books and some plays. So she's done a lot. It's just me assuming that there's not that many. I'm reading City of Tears now. Is that the Burning Chambers ones? Yeah. Cool. And I really want to read those. Oh, so many books, so little time. Right, we are over time. It is 9:03. So shall we leave that here? Stanley's like giving me death stares. Can you see him? It's like, Mother, stop talking. Am I talking too much? But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's live stream. I think we've only done 3 writing sessions, so I am sorry. I do try to do 4, but I also just want to have a really good chat as well. It's nice to talk and catch up, and I love having bookish chats. So, you know, I hope you're okay with 3 writing sessions. Do you feel like that's a good balance? Do you feel like having 3 writing sessions and a bit more of a chat is better? Or would you prefer to have less chat and 4 writing sessions? Maybe have a think about that and either let me know now quickly or yeah, let me know in the next live stream. So if I need to go onto our website because I'm definitely live streaming next week. I need to just have a look at my own schedule so that I know what I'm doing. Yeah, 7th of April. So 7th of April I'm live streaming. I'm then also live streaming on the 13th. It's the 21st of April when I will not be live streaming. So yeah, we'll be back next week, 7 till 9 again. Tell your friends, tell people to come along. And yeah, we will have another chat then. And maybe have a think about the 100 books over 100 years question, about whether you think I should do the most popular books or just like a book of my choosing for each year. I think my instinct is to go with the most popular book. I think that's probably going to be better in terms of engagement, but I think also, like I say, I can investigate different things. And yeah, let me know. What was the other thing? I literally just asked. It's gone. It's gone. I need to go to bed. This has been this has been me trying to keep things locked into my brain and quickly forgetting about them. So yeah, thank you very much for joining the live stream, and I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been lovely to see everybody again. Same faces coming back week after week. I really appreciate it. I know that time is very tight for everybody, and I really appreciate you coming and joining the little community that we're building. So Stanley's having a bit of scrap. You all right, love? He's all good. Right. Thanks again. I'll pop it on to stream ending. I've actually got it done. I've actually done a stream has ended slide, as promised. And everybody have a wonderful Easter weekend or a long weekend. And yeah, I will be as well. I'm having Friday off. I'm having Monday off. I'm looking forward to a long bank holiday weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.